with the big video. Hi guys, hello and welcome to Paddling Places family. Park yourself. Yep. Well, okay, we are on Old Lake Davenport. So Paddling Places, Florida. I missed it. Okay, now it's time to cut out the pattern if you decided to use a hard cardboard pattern like I am here. It's good to have another piece of cardboard underneath it so when you do cut it, it doesn't cut into your, your table. So I did use a steel rule because I want this to be really clean. So I went and got my steel rule to follow along the edges here. But I noticed that the line is a little bit curved. So I'm going to have to plan that in here. Right where it starts to curve, I want to cut. So I'm just going to go in and cut this because I put a little bit of curvature in the pattern, which is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the rule and then pick up that line and then trim all that off and we're good to go. All right, that looks good. Now, this side it was already straight, so all I got to do now is cut the curves. So, fortunately, those lined up. That was pretty cool. I'll just cut this end off. Now I got to get some intricate work here. Now, you may want to use an X-Acto knife. I'm going to snap part of this blade off here so I can get a sharper area. Actually, I'm going to get a different blade. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do now is cut these circles. And I went and got a really, really sharp knife here so I can cut these out. Now, X-Acto knife may be better, but this is sharp enough to where I don't have to worry about it. This is one of those where you snap off the old 1/4 inch of the blade and you have a new 1/4 inch blade there, so that's what I'm using and it works really good. Now, I can't express the importance of taking your time here because you really want this to be clean. I've got another curvature right here. Let me darken in this line. Okay, now we got one more circle to do. Now, one thing about this, if you don't get it 100%, you can take your finger and kind of burnish the edge. So when you're transferring the pattern, it's going to give you a nice line to work with. So here's the finished pattern right here, and we're going to take it over to the boat right now and see what we got. So let's go over here and place it. We're going to place it both and then take the pencil and then mark what side, left side, right side. So when I put it up, I reverse it. And so we won't have any problems there. So I just drop this in place. Got a nice feel. Circle looks good there. Now you will get some play on this. So that's going to work out. So this is the top of the left side. And then flip it. And we're going to cut these ends off right here. I don't think I want to round those so they don't come up, because over time they will come up. So we're looking at this. And, oops, not quite, there we go. And this is top right. Okay. Oh, one of the things I failed to mention, go ahead and have a heat gun with you. You want to activate this adhesive once you get done applying it. Now you don't want to get it too hot because you'll have problems, but you know, just kind of warm it up to activate the adhesive. So the next critical part of this whole project is transferring that onto this. And then marking it to where it's upside down. So if I'm marking the top right, for instance, and cutting this one here, it says top right, it'll actually be the top left. And then by flipping it over this way, the top left will actually be the top right because of the angle that I'm doing it. Also, decide which way you want your diamonds to go. I want them to go right down the line of the boat, but you can go long ways. So making sure you have that where you want it. And now we're going to transfer the pattern. Now, one of the things I found out on this backing paper, ink doesn't stay to it, the Sharpie doesn't stay to it. I'm going to use a small Sharpie pen and hopefully it'll work out okay because there's really nothing for it to draw onto because it's a wax or very slick cover here. So I'm just going to, and know that I have to cut on the inside of these lines to get it 100% right. Okay, and if you notice, this was the top right. I marked it top left. So now I'm going to do the top left on the next one right now. So as you can see, this stuff is really easy to cut through, which makes it a pleasure to cut because cutting through the cardboard was a little bit of a challenge, but I think it's going to pay off in the long run. So now comes the intricate work where you have to cut the pattern out. But again, this is a pleasure to cut. It's really easy. That should be safe now. Get this one out of the way. I'm gonna go fit it in the boat. This should be the top right. Or top left, actually. No. This is the top right, duh. Okay, here's the top right. Looks pretty good. Gonna have to do a little bit of manipulation, but nothing serious. But that one will look pretty good. I see I've got to trim it a corner right here. I got to round it off right there. I'll just eyeball this one, but I want to round this off because of that thing, the way the contour of the boat goes. And go refit it, and then if this one works, I'll do the same thing to the other one. It may take 1 or 2 tries, but I think, okay, I got to do the same thing on that end. This has got to be cut a little bit here. See, once I get this fitted right, that's where I want it to go, just like that. So I got to round that end right here, and that one's more radical. And then this is okay, so this has got to be rounded. Okay. Now once this fits, then I'll transfer what I did to modify it to the other one, and it should be identical. Okay, so the modifications we made on this pattern, I want to do the same thing for this pattern. So to do that, I have to flip it this way. So what I want to do is take this right here, draw a straight line, and that made the mod for the thing we did over there. Now, the top left piece we're going to cut. We are almost ready for application phase. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just finish up the final trimming on the other side piece, then we'll get it prepped, and so we'll be back in just a little bit for installation.